Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to our recap of Week 7 of American Idol. I am your host for today. My name is Adam Samuel. I'm joined today by my co-host, who is amazing as always, Eric. How you doing, Eric?
Doing well, everybody. Lots of thoughts this week, and we're going to switch up the format a teeny bit so we can get through it a little bit more efficiently, but this should be fun.
Yeah, there is a
crap load of performances.
An incredibly large amount to go through, but here's how we're going to go through these performances. So we're going to start with the contestants who were eliminated in the show at the start, and then they're eliminated. So we'll have a little bit more time to talk about the contestants who are moving on. There's a lot happened this week, Eric, right?
I would agree. This was a busy week, and I loved it. Honestly, my favorite thing about this week is that they were able to fit in 14 contestants performing full performances length, like 2 minutes each, in 2 hours, both nights. Kudos, Idol producers. That's what you should be aiming for.
I feel like if this was a horror movie, if this week of American Idol there's a scary movie, the villain of this week is definitely the band. For a lot of the performances, the band was just so loud. It was drowning out a lot of the contestants.
That's not the band's fault. That's the sound mixer's fault.
I wrote down a Bandzilla. That's what this week was.
Okay.
Do you agree on that?
Yeah, they have time to work out those kinks, though. Honestly, I'm just really, really, really happy that they cut back on the judges' time so they could get more performances out of everybody. I really liked
that. So one of the things that we open up with this, the episode starts, and we see this brand new stage. What do you think of the new stage?
I was torn on it at first, but we'll get to a performance that actually sold me on it later. There's one performance of the week that I was totally sold on the whole layout and everything.
For me, I was watching, and it was really bothering me that the judges' stage was not in the center. And that just was...
That's the one thing that bothered me.
That was like my...
That was really far back. But...
It was too far back? That's how they need to stand up, so that way they could see the contestants again.
But they didn't stand up for everyone this week.
Yes. The judges were a lot more critical this week, which is... I feel like the producers were whispering in Katy Perry's ear, no more standing ovation.
Nice.
I
love the fact they played the theme song again. I
missed that. It was so refreshing. Me personally, I loved the second episode because it was live and it felt so much more natural. Like the edited shows are just they're good, but they leave me a little bit like they're picking and choosing what to show us. And when it's live, we're getting the full experience. Everything it's just as it happened. So each contestant came on stage, they performed their solo performance, and this was the first time in the entire show that I truly believed that each contestant chose these songs. These songs, it made so much sense that these were the songs that the contestants picked. Do you agree with that? Do you feel like these were the contestants' own song picks?
I think they might have had a better list than usual, but overall, I'd say most of the song picks made sense, yes. I feel like a lot of the song choices were better this week than they've been in the previous weeks, particularly with Katie, but we'll get to her later.
So how this round works is the contestants each performed a solo, and then America voted, and they cut there were 6 contestants who made it on, and then everyone else, the remaining 8, performed again with the contestants who performed, which was kind of like a victory performance. And then the judges picked the 4 that moved on. So what did you think of this format?
Overall, I have some thoughts. I liked season 15's format slightly better, with the exception of the fact that this time all 14 performed twice. Were in season 15, before who got the judges' vote at the beginning didn't have to perform, and we got less performance from them. Other than that, I think season 15 was better. I think it's better if you're going to have the judges interfere, have them put through the obvious ones, and then let America vote through the rest.
I never trust when the judges are left in charge of the contestants' fate. It always goes slightly awry, which we'll probably be touching on a little bit later. Just before we get into the contestants, I watched all these performances, and I came away with it feeling that there was a very clear 9 contestants who were clearly going to be the ones moving on. I feel like everyone else was kind of fighting over the one spot, and that's kind of how things turned out. I wrote up a prediction before the episode aired, and I said these contestants are the ones who are in danger, and I was kind of right. Did you feel the same way?
I felt like a couple of things surprised me about who needed to be saved by the judges' vote, but overall, this is about the top 10 that I would have expected. So,
can we all agree though that every contestant who got the wild card, they're doomed, right? There's no chance they're going to be winning, right?
I'm not going to win, but hopefully Ada goes far.
We'll get to Ada in a few minutes, but let's move on. So, like I said, we're going to be starting with the contestants who were eliminated first. We're just going to kind of go through them a little bit quickly. First up, we had Garrett Jacobs doing Raging Fire by Philip Phillips. What'd you think?
That's my thought. Although I do have one thing to add about it, actually, which is, and it's nothing to do with Garrett's performance, because that's my only thought about Garrett's performance. I accidentally voted 6 times for Garrett on Sunday, and I was praying that it wasn't actually going to put him through, because that wasn't a performance worthy of the top 10. Sorry.
I'll admit, when Philip Phillips was on American Idol, like, I was totally against him and like who I was voting for. But
me too.
I'll admit,
I've seen him live once now, and I'm seeing him live again in the summer. He actually got, the problem with him on Idol is that he was sick the whole time and he couldn't sing his best.
The thing is that he has this charisma about him, Philip Phillips. Like when he performs, like I watched, he did this song on the American Idol finale, and he was like moving around, he was like jamming, and like he was really getting into it. And Garrett was just like stone faced.
Yeah,
like I'm like, do something. Like he's just standing there, and like Philip Phillips, like he feels the music.
Spaceballs. Do something.
He moves around, and Garrett looked like he was expecting to be shot. Is what I'm saying. Okay. But also the music kind of drowned him out. But moving on to his performance, he's, like we said, he does not get Saved by America, and he does Have You Ever Seen the Rain by CCR. I wrote strong performance, much better, but still kind of not enough. Do you kind of share my sentiments?
I literally wrote better from Sunday, but still not good enough.
I'm just so bitter that he could have done so much with like the Philip Phillips song. It's such like a get into the song, and it's just, that's not kind of what happened, right?
Sure.
All right. So unfortunately, that's the end of the road for Garrett. Poor guy. We move on to the next contestant, who I have a lot to say. I don't think Eric has a lot to say, though. It's Johnny Brenz. He's doing This Is Gospel by Panic at the Disco. What'd you think? That's going to be the trend for this episode, isn't it?
No, it's not. That's the last one. Well, Johnny's Monday performance, I'll say I wrote the exact same thing. But that's it. I'm done now.
I just have to say that when the spoilers came out, I had never heard the song before. And the spoilers come out, and I went to YouTube and I was watching through the song, and I will admit, like overnight, I absolutely fell in love with the song.
Brendan Urie has really won me over recently. He's really good. He's a really good singer.
I never heard of them before Johnny's performance. Like
Really?
I heard people talking about them, and I just want to say thank you so much to Johnny for introducing me to these people, because their music is absolutely incredible. The song has been on repeat since I discovered it. But going in anticipation of this performance, I found this piano version that what's the guy's name? Brendan
Urie.
So he did this piano version, and it's absolutely incredible. And I was watching it, and I was thinking, this is what Johnny's going to do. Like this, it makes so much sense because he did in Hollywood Week. He had the piano, and he went to go rock it out. And I was like yelling, why didn't you do the piano version? It's right there for you. It's an incredible song. It will be like a moment. And instead he decided to go for this like huge rock out performance. And I was so disappointed, because I so badly fallen in love with this song, and it was so like instantly just kind of went like a womp womp. Like it could have been amazing.
We need a sound effects board for the show at this point.
It was what?
We need a sound effects board for the show.
The piano version was right there, and I feel like if he had gone for it, it probably would have been amazing. But like I said, thank you, Johnny, for introducing me to this song, because I've not stopped listening to it since. But we move on to his next performance, because he does not move through on America's Vote. It's It's those blasted Imagine Dragons. They're coming back. The hand has come up to claim another one.
Again.
It's Demons. And I just want to ask this question before we get into his performance. Who sang it better, Johnny or Caleb Johnson in season 13?
Well, that was when Caleb was sick. So Johnny sang it better.
Ooh, whoa. Johnny is better than Caleb Johnson. You heard it here.
When Caleb Johnson has no voice, yes, Johnny's better than Caleb. If Caleb had half of his voice, Caleb would have destroyed that song.
I wrote down, Imagine Dragons rears its head to claim yet another victim. Which I feel exactly sums it up but the thing is, I think I'm so disappointed.
It started off better than it ended. When he was doing it really slowed down and actually, like doing it sort of like an acoustic version, it was good. And then the band kicked in and it became like a sleepy karaoke, like crappy version of Demons, and it wasn't good.
Yeah, it's not good enough. He's cut, and if he had gone for that piano version and he had with no Bandzilla, you take out Bandzilla and you just have him with the piano, I feel like it would have been a moment, and it's such a disappointment. But any final thoughts on him?
Bye. I had more thoughts on him than I thought I would, actually.
I'm surprised he didn't make it. I mean, even with the bad performance, I've thought his appeal to the certain demographic of American Idol would have pushed him through. But
Caleb took over that appeal. So there's only one heartthrob per season who's there despite not being able to sing very well. I'm sorry.
I guess. But we move on to our next contestant who was unfortunately eliminated. It's Marcio. He's doing It's a Miracle by Barry Manilow, which is a song that is a favorite of my father's. What'd you think?
It was a problematic song choice. He could sing it, but it was very karaoke. I was bored enough to actually, during this performance, finally notice something. There was only one cutaway to the judges during the entire performance. So, to me, this is proof that J-Lo had it in her contract. Once and for all, we know that she had a mandated number of times they would cut to her during each episode of Idol. Because, I mean, Katy Perry's getting paid more money than J-Lo ever did. But Katy Perry clearly doesn't have it in her contract because it only cut to the judges once. Kudos.
Was there ever any doubt?
What?
Was there ever any doubt that J-Lo had that in her contract?
Yes, a little bit, because if they did it from a new judging panel, it might not have been in their contract, but, you know.
Kind of bring the conversation a little bit back to Marcio. I have in my notes, I understand what he was going for with this song, but why couldn't he do the exact same thing with like a Bruno Mars song? Like, why did he have to go so back? The thing is, this performance, it was dripping with like cheese. Like, it was just so a little bit bordering on uncomfortable, but
no, Monday was bordering on uncomfortable.
I mean, we'll get to that in a sec, but I just wrote it was poor singing, and I mean, I've been asking him to go up tempo, but not. Why wouldn't he go contemporary? Like, he's trying to present himself as a contemporary artist. I wasn't understanding it, why he went so old school. And during his performance, Lionel Richie gives him a standing ovation. And I wrote down in my notes that I think he just stands when he's talking, because he was standing and he just was talking while standing. And I think that's just kind of his shtick at this point. That's just how he talks. Like, he's always, there are people like that, right? No? I think I'm going a little crazy. I wrote down my notes that before we got to the results, I wrote down I feel like he's going to be saved, because there were so many commercials like watch his run on, watch him perform, and I was expecting him to be saved. But before we get on to his elimination and final thoughts, he comes back the second night for his next performance, which is this is a little bit funny and a little bit that we're probably going to be talking about. It's he comes back and does Jealous by Nick Jonas, which is a song, as you might remember from last week, that I actually suggested that he do. But before I give my thoughts,
what did you think? Terrible.
I feel like his elimination now is my fault.
It's partly your fault.
I mean, I picked the song for him, but I didn't pick the straight cover of it. There's a gospel version that Nick Jonas does, which is, I feel it would have been a lot more his style. It's a modern song. It probably would have been a little bit better. I just have for my notes that I felt nothing from this. It was the notes and drops are weird and out of place. There was no energy in this performance. And I feel
there was energy for me. It was manic energy. I thought for most of it was decent karaoke. Then he drops to his knees and screeches at the end. And I'm like, ow, that was painful.
Ow.
And the judges basically told him no, basically right then. They didn't try to fake him out. We're considering it. No, they're like basically told him no.
Yeah, I wrote down he basically gets a goodbye from the judges. And I wrote down also in circles, I sealed his fate. It's all my fault. Which I'm so sorry if you saw my article and picked it. But I wasn't going for this version. I was going for a different version. It's an incredible version. But it, like you said, it seals his fate and he is eliminated. Any final thoughts on him? Or just bye?
I'm just going to keep laughing at you for picking that song of him actually picking it. And then getting cut immediately after he picks it.
At least I tried. At least I was trying to be.
Yeah, kudos for trying. Good effort.
I feel so good that I tried. But next we move on to another contestant who tried. It's Mara Justine. How was that transition?
What a horrible segue.
How was that transition? We move on to the next contestant. It's Mara Justine, who's doing This Is Me by The Greatest Showman. What'd you think?
I'm so mad because her emotions got the best of her. The song was literally perfect for her. And I feel like she still deserved to make the top 10, but she could have had a moment with that song, and she didn't because of her emotions.
I wrote down that this was the first time I was seeing her being really pitchy, which is bizarre because she's usually so perfect when it comes to her performances. There was a quote that I found from someone who I think was on Idol forums, which I just want to read because it was just it so summarized it. They wrote down, I haven't seen someone burning so much goodwill so quickly since Majesty Rose did Let It Go. Like, in my mind, she reminds me so much of Majesty Rose, where she was like this front runner status, and then in like 2 performances burned all that goodwill and was like relegated to what eventually happened, which is eliminated contestant. I just feel like in the moments when she was like when she was like belting and it was a little bit screaming, she was basically screaming, I'm not ready for this. And that was the vibe I got, which is such a weird shame because I was so high on her during her auditions and Hollywood Week run. And to see it end up like this was just kind of anticlimactic, I guess is the word.
Disappointing is my word because I still liked her, but.
You liked this performance?
Not this performance, but I think based on overall body of work and based on the Monday performance, she definitely deserved to make it to the top 10.
Based on this performance, I would say she deserved to be competing for the wild card. I feel like she was one of the contestants who was not in the 9 that I came out of the episode thinking was going to be the top 10. And I feel like when the producers were probably deliberating on who's going to get that last wild card, when it was between Michelle, who we'll get to a little later, and Mara, they kind of figured that Michelle she brings a little bit of diversity. And, that's kind of a little bit what they were thinking.
They wanted one of the other 9 to win, and they didn't want to have anyone who could possibly do well.
I feel like she kind of adds something that she's not going to. We'll talk about Michelle a little later, but I feel like Michelle at least is probably going to do an opening the show starter moment where probably the contestants remaining aren't likely to. Do you kind of? Okay. But anyway, we move on to her. When she came out the second time, after she's being told no, and I hear the first like startings of the song, and it's "Love on the Brain" by Rihanna, I was like, she's about to save herself. This was what made us all start rooting for her. And what'd you think about it?
I thought it was wonderful, and I'm mad that she didn't get the wild card.
I wrote down, where was this Mara last night? Because this was her. She was digging into it. There was one moment in the performance that I'm not going to sing it myself, but she does brain, and it was just so like that. That was my favorite vocal moment of Mara the entire Idol run. And the thing is, coming off this performance, I was still thinking she's going to get cut. It's either going to be her or Journey. One of them is going to get screwed.
I thought that she was going to get cut after the judges gave her the kiss-off speech. Until then, I was like, she just saved herself. But
I mean, if it came down to her and Journey and you get to pick one to move on.
I think it came down between her and Michelle. but
no, well, yeah, I do agree with that, but I feel they kind of wanted Michelle is like a totally Michelle.
you keep digging that hole. She's gone next week.
She is on my draft. She is going to win. You be nice to Michelle. The fact that we're being so critical, that just means she's going to end up winning the show. But anyway, so
no, she's not. I got more likes on my tweet basically saying that Mara getting bussed over Michelle is a crime. I got more likes on that tweet than I've gotten on any tweet in my entire history. Over 74 likes right now and counting.
I just want to say that transition to Mara was absolutely that's my favorite moment of this podcast. Someone else who tried. But we move on. So those are the 4 contestants who were eliminated. So we're going to now go back. We're going to be starting these performances. We're going to go through them in order of how they performed on the Sunday night episode. So we're going to talk about the results. Also, if they weren't safe and they sang for the wild card, we'll go through all that. But first up, we have Caleb. He's doing Midnight Train to Memphis, not Georgia, as I wrote down in my notes and was wrong, which is, it says that it's by the Steel Drivers, but I Googled it and it says it's by Chris Stapleton, which means that this is now, I think, the 3rd or 4th Chris Stapleton song that he's done in his Idol run. What do you think?
Mediocre, generic country, not my thing. Judges didn't stand. Katie called him nervous. Luke called out a song choice. And I wrote literally after watching, I'm like, the bus went. Katie calling him nervous was the busing, and then Luke calling out the song choice was the bus rolling him over, then putting itself into reverse, going back for another go. And I'm like, and he still made it through. How?
I mean, he's our country guy. Like if they cut him, then there's only Gabby, and I feel like Gabby is only a little country in reality, but Caleb is our full-on country. But he gets dinged on his nerves. He does have this inspiring story where he lost over 80 pounds, which I wish I could lose another 80 pounds right now.
Good for him.
I mean, they paint a journey for him, and I think he advances, and I think we're starting to underestimate a little bit the country vote. I feel that here's the idea that I have, and this is a question I want to pass off to you. Is he Scotty McCreery or is he Dexter Roberts?
I praise the latter. I fear he's the former.
Because that's the idea that I was getting from. Because Caleb, we haven't seen much growth. I mean, did Scotty grow during his Idol run? I mean, he kind of
started out one way. And he did the exact same performance every single week for 14 weeks, and then he won.
Yeah, I wrote down in his intro package, he says he wants to surpass Johnny and Garrett in the heartthrob like label. And congratulations, he did that.
Congratulations, you did that. You succeeded.
You outlasted your competition. But he comes back for his next performance, and he does. Let me just get to it. He does "Getting You Home" by Chris Young, which is the first. It's a song that's not Chris Stapleton. Like I wrote down, the country voters came out to play. Like he is, he has this country lane like basically all to himself, with like only Gabby kind of being his comparison, but in the guys, it's all his. I just wrote down, I feel that next week is the Disney theme, and I feel like of all the contestants, he's the one who's going to struggle the most. Do you kind of agree with that?
He'll pick something from a terrible Disney direct-to-DVD movie, is my guess.
What would you pick for him? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I was thinking Hakuna Matata. Like, what do you go with? Like, what do you go with? I mean, they're just.
Okay. If he actually picks Hakuna Matata, I will officially change my entire mind about him, because that would be so hilarious that I would love it.
Who should do Hakuna Matata of this group?
Nobody. Nobody except actually, maybe Michelle should.
Be nice to my draft pick.
Okay. I got more entertainment out of you suggesting Hakuna Matata for Caleb than I got out of either of Caleb's performances this week.
Well, he does advance, and you brought up Michelle, and we're now going straight into Michelle. It's time to talk about her. She's doing, I'm not sure if it's Friends or Friends, but Friends is easier to say. It's by Marshmello and Anne Marie. I wrote down better vocals than I expected.
Yeah, the
What do you
second
think?
half was better than the first half. And then she talked at the end, and I didn't really like it that much.
I wrote down this performance, in my opinion, even though she's my draft pick and she's probably going to be top 2, this is not the show for Michelle, in my opinion. Like, what she did was she chose a song that isn't really about singing and then proceeded to not sing it very well. Like, there's just, I don't, like,
Honestly, I have nothing really to say about the first performance of this karaoke. I have a ton to say about the Monday night performance.
we'll get to that in a sec, but just for this on a second, just sticking with this for a second, Katy Perry says she needs to play more to the viewers, which is entirely weird to be hearing constructive criticism from Katy Perry, who stands.
Yeah, I really amazing the judges suddenly decided to judge people.
It's probably the producers that are feeding them line. It's like, can you tell? Maybe they have something in their ears. But that was her solo performance, and then she comes back because she does not get into the top 6, which is such a shame. She comes back. She also
performed, dripping with sarcasm. I love it.
She also performed second both nights, which is that's like the DeAndre Brackensick, where they just keep putting him first until he eventually just goes home. I have a bit of a tinfoil hat theory for this, which we'll get to a little bit later, unless you want to get to it now, which is actually it makes more sense to get to it a little later. But she comes back. She's not safe. She does an original song. This is the first time she's going to do an original song. She's doing I'm a Dreamer, which is Spanglish. She does it in a Spanglish version. Before you have a lot to say, I want to actually quote my good friend MJ, who does the blog with her critiques of this performance, because it perfectly encapsulated what I was feeling. She wrote, "Oh, girlfriend, this was not the time to sing a mediocre original, especially on the night where your voice, especially one that highlights that your thin, your vocal flaws." So do you kind of share those sentiments?
Pretty much. I will say mediocre is, did she say mediocre original?
Mediocre original.
Well, I think mediocre is being too kind to the original, honestly. But the song literally rivaled no boundaries in terms of cliched lyrics, and I was like, oh my god, this is probably one of the worst original songs I think I've ever heard. She sounded good on it, to be fair. She did sound better on it than she sounded basically all season. But if you're gonna do an original song, the song has to be good, and it wasn't. And somehow she's still here.
I feel that's a little harsh. I feel if anyone's willing to put together a song and for even if it's bad, it's a little like this is she clearly was feeling something while she was putting the song together. Yeah. And I appreciated that from her. I appreciated that she was gutsy enough to do it. I wouldn't say it was that it wasn't no boundaries. But like she was willing to go there, and I just want to say that I really appreciate that from her, that she's willing, even though the audience might not fully like it, I appreciate that she's willing to share something personal. I mean, it's just something that
I liked her attitude going into it and going out of it, talking about like how she loves this country. I did like that. And I like her as a person, and I think she has still a ton of potential. I did not like that song.
I just she does score one of the wild cards, and I actually was pretty certain that she was going to be one of the contestants. They do this every season. Remember Gianna, remember Kristen. They always have that one contestant who came in 14th place, and they're still going to send them through because she's here to be a fodder contestant for next round. She's probably going to do another opening the show round. She's going to go first again. She's going to be. I just wrote she's easy fodder for another round. And I feel like if you're comparing between Michelle and Mara, the producers, the thought process is that Michelle adds a little bit more variety to the show. Do you agree?
No, I'll never agree. But let's move on.
All right. So, like I said, she makes it through. So afterwards was Marcio, who we talked about, then Mara, then Garrett. Whoa, 3 people cut in a row. We move on to Adam Sanders, also known as Ada Vox, doing The Show Must Go On by Queen. Before we get to his results, what did you think of just this performance?
I felt like, first of all, Ada's a star. There were just enough pitch issues of her performance for it to not be a moment for me. Still the best of the night for me, but I know that Ada is capable of a mad world level idol moment. This wasn't it, and I'm hoping it happens.
I wrote down in my notes that Mara's song "This Is Me" would have been better for Adam here.
Maybe.
I mean,
I
whenever
don't think the songs was the problem. I think the execution was the problem.
I feel like this was on paper, this is a great song for him. It brought me back. I don't know if you remember to season 11. Skylar Lane did this song, and it's just her version is so good. Do you remember it at all?
I'm sorry, but since then, Adam Lambert singing it and the audition that I saw on X Factor UK from a finalist make a really Skylar version from my memory. I'm sorry, but
I'm gonna have to veer away from what you said. I'm gonna say that, in my opinion, this was actually the first performance of Adams that I didn't like that much. I feel he piled on the theatrics, and it was just a little bit too much. Like it was a little bit too showy, in my opinion. I feel that through no fault of his own, I feel like he got swallowed by the band, which is not his fault, but it was the band's fault. So I can't really ding him on that. But in my opinion, it did kind of lower the ability of the performance. The dramatics was a little bit much.
I disagree. I think the vocals were the problem. They're a little pitchy.
I agree. I also have that. There were parts that were a little wobbly. The thing is he has such a strong voice, but when he gets to these certain parts, when he's like belting, it gets like wobbly, and there's like bordering on like going off, and it like barely stays. And there are parts where it kind of gets a little bit choppy, in my opinion. But I still thought, in my opinion, he was totally going to be one of the contestants going through, but he gets his result and he's told he did not get through. He's actually sitting with Katie at the end, and they're the last two contestants, which, by the way, if I was in that room with those contestants and I was the last one, I would probably be a crying mess at this point. But he comes out for his second performance and he gets the pimp spot, which is bad that he got the pimp spot this round, in my opinion, because that means he's not going to get the pimp spot next week. He does. I feel that way.
You can think that, but you don't know that.
He comes back and he does, and I am telling you, by from Dreamgirls, this is a hard song to do. Whenever I hear this song, you know where my thoughts go. It goes right to that performance with Jessica Sanchez and Jennifer Holliday. And I wish he had taken a note out of Jennifer Holliday when she's just like screaming. And I wanted him to go Jennifer Holliday, and he kind of went not that way. What did you think of the performance?
I thought there were pitch issues galore. Ada was emotional, though. I thought it was more than good
understandably emotional.
Oh, totally understandable. And I thought it was more than good enough for Ada to deserve to go through. And I can't wait for that real Mad World level moment. And I hope Ada can stick around long enough for us to have it.
I hope so too, because he's on my draft. But I think he's in serious trouble next week. If America is not willing to vote for him here, I feel he's going to be in. The thing is, he used his pimp spot slot. They gave it to him this round, which means if idle trends continue, that means he's probably going to be performing early in the show. And God knows they might saddle him with another Imagine Dragons song.
Early in the show means nothing at this point.
I disagree. I think it does mean
voting is open at the beginning of the show.
I don't know. I mean, in retrospect, it kind of made sense that he didn't make it. He kind of has like 3 dings against him. Like he's a person of color. He has a sexuality. He performs in drags. Like there are 3 dings against him, and it kind of, like the Idol fan base is kind of, I feel, a little bit more conservative, which is weird. I totally thought the Idol fan base would be more liberal, but they're more conservative. So, what did you? To kind of share my sentiments that it does a little bit make sense that he didn't make it?
The only reason he didn't make it is because of those things.
Those 3 things?
Yes. Because based on talent, he deserves to win the whole damn show, a cakewalk. So
I don't know if I can agree with you on that. I feel there's one more contestant who we'll be talking about a little later, who I have a lot to say about. But
if you really think Maddie is more talented than Ada, you're smoking something.
I think Maddie has more winnability than Ada.
We're not talking about winnability here. We're talking about based on talent.
I might also argue with you there, but
okay.
Any final thoughts on Adam? What do you think about where Adam should go from here? Like, it's Disney week next round. Where do you think he should go?
I think there are plenty of things that he could pick that would be great. I'm thinking maybe Mulan.
I'll make a man out of you.
No, Reflection.
I don't know. Reflection, that actually does. Ooh, Reflection, but not in drag.
No, in drag.
That's actually a brilliant song for him. Like I'm just thinking that's actually a perfect song for him.
I think
I
that's what's good. I can
what
see it.
I would. I feel like there's got to be one performance that he goes without drag with, like
Not
just
gonna
as
happen.
Adam. Um, I feel like it could be good. Like I feel like there's a certain vulnerability that he could bring out by, and I feel like next week, Disney Week, doing Reflection, I feel like that's because if he's in drag and he's doing Reflection, doesn't that kind of have a different kind of message to it?
Whatever. I think it's still a good song for him. I don't know.
I totally agree, but that's actually yeah. But we move on to our next contestant, unless you have anything else you want to say.
I don't. America, vote for Ada. That's what I have to say. Vote. I'm voting. Next.
We move on to the next contestant. It's Katie Turner. She's doing "Take Me to Church," which on paper I was thinking this does not make sense at all because Katie Turner is an 18-year-old, but in my opinion, based on how she's presented herself, she's not presented herself as an 18-year-old. And this is a song that if you just read the lyrics, and not if you just listen to the song, you might not realize that there is a very, very sexual meaning to these words. And it was, first of all, the song is huge. And I was thinking, how is she going to do this? And what did you think about it?
Honestly, first I'm gonna talk about the pre-performance stuff. Because
I want to let's get there too. I agree.
let's start there. I think she's hilarious, but I hated that she said that she doesn't think she can win. I hate that got that sound out of her.
I hate so too. I hate that too. That's her problem. It's because she's
planted in everyone's mind that she can't win.
But she's not playing to win, and she all right. She can't win, but she could go really far and really make an impression. And right now, by saying that, you're relegating yourself to being cut at top 7 instead of in 3rd place. Like there is a path for her, and the fact that she's willing to admit that she feels she doesn't win is just so disappointing for me. And also, like when they're talking to her in the waiting room, she said, "Vote for Adam over me because he's better than me" or something. And it's just
no, wasn't exactly what she said. I mean, she was right, but that's not what she said.
Is that what she said? I wasn't so sure. She said something along those lines.
She said basically, Ada's going to come on stage and prove and make America wonder why they voted for me over her.
That's kind of the same thing.
It wasn't saying in the future you should vote for it.
Oh yeah. I feel like in her intro package, she also talks about that she's getting a lot of hate on social media, and I almost felt like she was calling us out because we've been a little hard on her. But I want to say that I just want to put this out there. I'm a huge Katie fan, and this week was actually really, really strong for her.
And I'm going to concur completely. I thought that the 2 performances this week sealed the deal that I'm hoping that she's moved past top 24 round and the end of Hollywood week, and she's going to start delivering some killer performances. Because I honestly think her 2 performances this week were definitely worthy of a top 4.
I'm going to say I like this Katie so much more than Call Me Katie.
Well, that's a given, though.
When she performs, it's like she's a different person. Like in her intro package, she's like crazy and like kooky, but when she hits the stage, she's like this is what I was talking about in our draft. I wanted her to get serious. And in my opinion, this was her getting serious. Like
these 2 performances were stellar for her. Literally the best she's capable of. I was really happy.
Something that's before we go on to the next performance, the judges, they say they do this whole spiel about how she shouldn't
We haven't even talked about the first performance yet. I didn't get to talk about it.
I'm sorry. I thought we were go on.
I am going to say that I really don't like the song Take Me to Church, but it was still a great pick for her. Actually, she made me enjoy it, and I think that she deserved to make my top 10 based on that performance. I'm glad she did.
Do you think she deserved it over Adam?
No.
Of those 2, who would you put through?
What?
Of those 2, between Katie and Adam, between the 2, who would you have put through?
I think that's a false choice, but I would have picked Adam.
I would have gone for Katie, honestly. But you probably would have swayed me to Adam, honestly. But I do really like Katie. I just like her when she performs, and she has such like a confidence about her. Like it looks like she took a little bit from Maddie of just being like this cool, calm, collected. Because like she's freaking out in I keep calling it the red room, but it's the waiting room. And as soon as she hit the stage, it's just she's a different person. And I absolutely love this performance of hers. This was this was my favorite Katie performance of her entire run. But the judges, they say that this was something that stood out to me. They say, don't read the social media comments. They keep saying, don't scroll down. And I just found that so ironic because after the show, I went and watched this performance again on YouTube, and I scroll down and she's in the comments, like has posted a comment. Like she just totally disregarded everything the judges said. She even said in the comments, she wrote something like, I was totally flat on the first like part of the song. Like if you go to her performance and you scroll down, she's there. And it's just so like, oh, well, I guess there goes that critiques. Right?
I love her. Okay.
I really am starting to like her. Like I hope we see more this Katie than Call Me Maybe, because if she comes out with another
if she ever Call Me Katie again, she's a goner, honestly. She needs to keep this up because she's capable of going real deep if she keeps doing stuff like this.
She could clearly like burn so much goodwill that she's now accumulating. And I'm so excited for her. Once again, I wasn't excited about her. I kind of like disregarded her, and now I'm back on the Katie train, and I'm so glad I got her on my draft, and I'm so happy. But we move on to it comes down to her and Adam Sanders. She ends up getting through based on the vote, and she does Havana by Camila Cabello, which is a bit of a surprising song from her, but another stellar performance, in my opinion. Do you agree?
This was my favorite Katie performance of the whole season, honestly.
I like Take Me to Church more. Go on.
I did not, actually, but that's because I don't like that song. Katie, beautiful phrasing, the guitar, the song choice, every second of it was great. And after watching that performance, and keep in mind that I was still really bitter while watching it because I'm like, Ada should have definitely made it through. And even with that in my mind, I still love this performance. So that shows that was really impressive, that I still liked it even with the Ada not getting through in my mouth. So
I have a question, though. And this is an open-ended question. You could feel however you want to. Is this the ceiling for Katie? Is this her peak? Can she go further than this?
Can she go
in the song?
Make a better performance than that?
Yeah. Is there, because a lot of people were loving this performance more than Take Me to Church. I just like Take Me to Church more. But is she capable of a better performance than this, or is this as good as it gets?
I don't think she's capable of a better one, but I also don't think that's a huge problem.
Do you think she could be in trouble next week?
Not next week. If she keeps at this level and she doesn't go back down, she could make top 5 pretty easily.
I have a bit of a theory on Katie that I wanted to talk about right now. There was news a while ago that the American Idol tour is coming back. And one of the things that of this cast, Katie is such a personality draw. She's so like off stage and on stage. There's just so much personality. In my opinion, do you think that the producers might want to keep her around so she reaches that tour? Because if I'm looking at this cast and I'm picking people to be on the tour, I think Katie is one of the biggest draws in my opinion. Do you kind of share that sentiment?
I would tend to agree.
I feel like
I don't think that's the reason they want to keep her around, but I think it's a bonus reason.
I think that should, let's say, the top 5 make it to the tour, I feel that next week, if she doesn't make it, she is one of the contestants. And this is a theory that maybe we could refer back to it later. I feel that if she doesn't make it, she is going to be one of the contestants that gets wild cards. If there are still, because, this is American Idol, the judges are probably still going to have a say in the next round.
They're not.
We said that, but they did that in Idol 15 for up until, not. I think so. They were not. When it was like they would have the bottom 3 and the judges would save one of them or something.
No, they didn't.
No, with Avalon Young and Olivia Rox.
That was this week. That was top 10. That was top 14 week.
No, I think it was the judges. They saved Tristan.
I know my history. Google it if you want.
I will Google it in a second because I'm pretty sure. But anyway, yeah.
I'll talk about Cage while you Google it, and then I'll wait for your face when you see that I'm right.
Okay, so lastly before I go to double check that, huge fan of Katie. I don't see her winning, but she could be top 3 with if she keeps delivering and goes above Havana, this is an Idol run that could be legendary.
I'm excited to watch. Agreed.
But next we have Cade. He's doing Black Magic Woman by it says it's by Santana, but it's actually by Fleetwood Mac. What'd you think?
I liked it a lot. Cade's vocals aren't the strongest, but as an overall artist, he's the type of performer that I like and that I enjoy watching. Plus, he's a wake-up guitar, and that helps us out tremendously. And plus, he's my first draft choice because you were an idiot and you picked Maddie first. So, yeah,
Maddie's gonna win.
good luck with that. And yeah, also, are you still looking it up?
Still, go on.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Monday now. And then you'll talk about both, but let me know when you see it because I'm right. This was my favorite Cade performance so far. Monday's performance was of the whole season. I love the guitar solo. I think the vocals were better than usual. I was really, really happy with it.
This Wikipedia article isn't saying anything, so we'll come back to it. I just want to share my opinion. He has this entire lane to himself. Cade is rock. He's the only one in it. I kind of want him to step it up, though. This is an expected performance from him. I want, his Black Magic Woman. I want more song flips, in my opinion. I want more what he did.
We need at least a song flip or two throughout the season. I agree.
I'm starting to falter on my opinion of him being the winner, which is opening the door for someone else. I just feel like it's unless he starts doing something different, unless he starts flipping songs, if it's the same thing every week, I just feel like people are going to start turning off from him. And that brings up the question, is he like Jesse Kinch from Rising Star, or is he James Durbin from American Idol 10, who was cut at top 4? If he keeps sticking to these kind of performances, I see him falling short, honestly.
I don't.
Regardless, though, he is definitely one of the standouts of the night, and he does end up getting through. Katy Perry really, really likes him. She goes ahead and takes some of his hair, which is totally not creepy at all. But he moves on to his next performance. He does Bright Lights, Gary Clark. Another performance, I feel like everything is kind of starting to run the same color. It's, what you're going to get every week with him. He's always classic rock. He's never, to be an Idol winner, which the thing is, I don't know if he might benefit because this is a shortened season and people kind of have less time to lower their opinion of him. But I feel like, I don't know. I want something different from him. And he's getting repetitive. Do you agree?
No, I already basically talked about it. So,
but he is moving on, and we move on to the next contestant list. Any final thoughts
on Cade? Yeah. I'll plenty of time to talk about him more because he's going all the way. So, move on for this week.
You're gonna end up losing to Maddie. We move on to Dennis Lorenzo, who's doing "In My Blood" by Shawn Mendes, who is apparently really hated all of a sudden, which I had no idea about. But for this performance, I wrote down he's presenting himself as much more current than Marcio. No guitar. I feel like this performance sealed Marcio's fate. He's a better singer, better overall pick of the two.
I would agree. It was a great vocal. I love that it was up-tempo, more up-tempo than usual. As of the Sunday performance, I didn't think he was strong enough to be more of a mid-packer this season. I really did enjoy the performance. But I'm really excited to talk about the Monday performance because I thought that was the best performance of the entire weekend, honestly.
I still think he's in huge trouble, though, next week, which is so funny because I just feel like when it comes down to it, I feel like Michael trumps him, honestly. Like, I feel like he's still going to be in trouble.
Honestly, if Dennis can pull off another performance like he did on Monday night, I think it's a shot at going all the way to the finale. Genuinely. I think that the Monday performance he gave was stunning. For me, it was my favorite performance he's given all season, and definitely my favorite performance of the whole weekend.
I just feel like people aren't gonna connect with him as much. I connected with him. I thought this was a really good performance. He checked off, like I was saying a lot, that he needs to have more emotion in his song, and this week he did that. I just feel that he is going to still be in trouble. I feel like if it comes down to it, Michael is going to move on before him. I don't see him outlasting.
I hope not. Honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of Dennis until Monday night. I can't overstate how much I enjoyed that performance that he gave on Monday night. The falsetto was effortless. The phrasing was brilliant. It was a perfect song choice. And this is the one I was talking about with the stage that maybe I should like the staging. because I like how it started off with just a single small light behind him and then it opened up. I really actually this is a performance that made me like the out on stage, maybe like his voice. I was blown away by it, honestly.
I got to say, I liked his first performance, but I like you. I liked the next one he did after, which was "This Woman's Work," which is a song that I have a lot of memories on Idol, because this was it was Michael Lynch performed it in season 9, which was the first season I ever watched, and I was I think I was like 14 or something, and I was screaming at my screen like "Save him!" And I totally regretted it a few weeks later when Siobhan Magnus was cut. But Dennis. Great performance, great rendition of it. I think, honestly, I don't want to say this, but I kind of do. I think it was the best performance of the season so far on the live rounds.
The entire from him or from anyone?
Anyone in the live rounds.
I have to agree. I totally agree.
I feel that this is still early. There's people who are probably going to. This performance is going to probably be outlapped. But thus far, performance of the season. Agreed. And it's so funny because I still think he's going to be in trouble next week. I feel that if he turns in another Rude performance, like he does the Rude one, the song Rude, I think he's done. If he sticks to these kind of performances, he is golden. But I feel he's like on thin ice, and I feel he's one of the contestants that I feel is in a lot of trouble next round.
Agreed. But he's
also the oldest.
The experience showed. I genuinely, he's a performance I've went back and watched more than once this week. He's the only one I've actually rewound and actually like, wow, that was good. I'm going to watch that again. So yeah, he won me over with that performance alone. So
he performs well in the clutch, which is definitely a positive to have on this stage, in this show. But he is not safe, but he does get the wild card, which was totally expected. I would have given it to him as well, right?
Yep.
We move on to the next contestant. It's Journey, who's doing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's Dennis Journey. Oh no, sorry. I did them on opposite papers by accident. Sorry. We move on to now. I have to do another intro. We move on to a contestant who is what's the word? I am unashamedly saying that she's my favorite contestant this season. It's Maddie Poppy doing Homeward Bound by Simon and Garfunkel, which completely reaffirmed why she is my favorite contestant. I feel that right behind, up until Dennis performed his second song, this was the performance of the season. It was like there, and then Dennis slightly did a little bit better, but I still think Maddie's a dark horse. There's just something about her that's just so likable, and she was so smart she bypassed the band problem. It was just her and her guitar. I just wrote down smart. Transitions were beautiful. How she did her voice was like a lullaby. The one thing I want to see,
put me to sleep.
The one thing I want to see from her, you'll get your turn. The one thing I want to see more from her is I want more current songs. Her songs have all been a little bit, retro. I want a little bit more of that. But like I said, just something special about this girl. And I think she's due for a pimp spot. I think next round, there's got to be a Disney song for her. That is an incredible moment. I think she's doing great. And now it's your turn to totally undo everything I've just said. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the key point that you said, and you didn't even realize you said it was like a lullaby, which it was, because it was good. It was nice. It was pleasant, but it put me to sleep. I think a lot of people will agree with me that she's quite boring. And I think that she's not my thing. I'll put it that way. I'm sorry. I know you like her. I'm glad you like her. I'm glad some people like her. I don't.
I think you're underestimating her. I see her gaining momentum every week. She is starting, like on Facebook, she's one of the contestants getting the most views. Even I think beyond like Cade. I think only behind Katie, which is insane that Katie's number one in like getting the views. But I really feel you're underestimating her. I think she really could win the show. And I think with every performance that she is slaying.
If she wins, I'll eat my sorry I just don't get it paper.
We're going to get that on video. She gets a comparison to Joni Mitchell, and I totally see it. I want to see her do a Joni Mitchell song, like A Case of You. I'm really into Maddie. I'm buying what she's selling.
I'm glad you like her. I'm glad you like her.
she is actually the first contestant called up, which is going to get into my tinfoil theory, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. She's safe first. She does, what was it? It was Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles. And perfect opportunity to go up tempo because now she could fall back into the sweet spot. I think this was brilliant. I actually have been listening to the song on repeat. She's just so good. I'm so happy she did up tempo. I wrote she is in the top 2 for both performance nights, in my opinion.
Nope, disagree. Okay, is your conspiracy theory that the order they were called safe was the order they actually placed in the vote?
Yep, it's exactly that. I wish I had a tinfoil hat, but I have this theory, which
I've seen wrong.
Some other people floating around, just hear me out. So the order of the contestants called safe were, it was Maddie, it was Cade, then Gabby, then I think it was Caleb, then Michael, and then Katie, and also in my tinfoil theory is that every contestant who was called, who is not safe. So the order went Michelle, Marcio, Garrett. Those were the opposite order. So Maddie came in first. Michelle came in 14th. Cade came in second. Marcio came in 13th. And Gabby came in third. And you get what I'm saying.
And I think you're absolutely wrong.
I think I'm totally right. I think it's something that.
And if it was X Factor, we would find out at the end of the season that you were totally wrong. But unfortunately, I will never release the voting results.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. We talked about this a little bit in the pre-show. I'm going to predict that our top 3 is going to be Maddie, Cade, and Gabby, with either Maddie or Cade winning. Do you kind of share my sentiments?
I agree on Cade and Gabby.
There's got to be a thing going on when Maddie ends up winning the show, which we have to discuss at another time. But I just feel like the show is backing her. Like there's just so much.
No,
she's getting such generous edits, and you don't agree with anything I'm saying. But
I do not. Let's move on.
You will be proven wrong. But we move on to Journey, who's doing Bang Bang by oh my God, it was Nicki Minaj, Jessie J, Ariana Grande, and I just want to say on paper. Terrible song choice. I was thinking that as she's doing the song, that it should be the Jax song, the Nancy Sinatra version of the slower, more like kind of a sorrowful song. But oh my God, I was completely wrong. She came out and all of my expectations were completely flipped. This was a really good performance, and I didn't expect it. It was.
I had no idea she was capable of something like this. I had no idea.
She's been hiding this part of herself, and it's such a perfect time to do this, to go and do a completely current song, and she rapped. It's just...
Yeah, it was excellent.
The thing is, I saw this. I never want to see it from Journey again on the Idol stage, because if she does it again, I feel it's an instant elimination, because at this point, I want her back in her ballad lane. This was the perfect time to show an up-tempo. Now, for the competition, stick to the ballads, stick to the flashlights, stick to the... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I disagree with it because I felt like Sunday was really impressive to me, and then Monday I found slightly boring. So,
before we get to that, though, I just want to say gutsy. That's the song. That's the word I kept thinking of from her. And
very gutsy, very gutsy.
A risk that totally paid off, and I applaud her for going for it. Which is so weird because in the end, she is one of the contestants who is not selected to move on. And in my opinion, she was in my top 6. And I was absolutely shocked that she didn't make it. But then I kind of thought about Idol's demographics, and it made a little bit more sense. But she comes out the second night. She performs towards the end. She does Never Enough from The Greatest Showman, which 2 Greatest Showman songs in these 2 episodes, which was weird. I wrote she has the strongest skill of most of these contestants. She has the complete control. With Adam, his voice is a little bit, there are parts where it's wobbly. I feel like Journey has complete control over her weapon, or I guess skill or whatever. But the thing is, I don't see her in the finale though.
Never do I. That's all I have to say about her.
No more on Maddie? Journey, I mean.
Nope.
All right, 2 contestants left. All right, we move on to Michael J. Woodward, and I keep saying Michael J. Woodward, and I actually wrote that like on my notes, and I was so mad at myself. He's doing Titanium by Sia. Strong performance. Do you agree?
I love the arrangement. I thought the second half of the performance was better than the first. And most importantly, I love that he took another risk and picked a song and flipped it a little bit. I like him. We need risk takers on the show.
Definitely. He is a total risk taker. And he also doesn't oversing, which is something I really appreciate. It's weird, though. I feel like I almost feel like I don't have a lot to say about him, which is weird. Like, of all the contestants, Michael, I have like 2 sentences, like strong performance, good job, felt it all. But like, it's so weird where I've like kind of expected greatness from him. And I don't know why. I mean, good for him. He's a phenomenal contestant. Top 5, though. I don't see him making beyond top 5. I feel like that's where the nitty gritty gets a little bit too tough. But do you kind of share my sentiments?
Yes. I'd say after Monday, I thought he was definitely good, but I think Ada and Mara were better than him. So.
Okay. So next he comes back, his second round, he does Believe in Yourself by The Wiz. And in contrast, this was my least favorite Michael performance of the season. Do you kind of share my sentiments?
It was good. It wasn't stellar.
I wrote not my favorite, just and that's it. I wrote not my favorite. Like I almost don't have that much to say about him, which is so weird. He's such a good contestant, and I have so little. I don't know. Any final thoughts on him?
Nope. Gabby.
Next, our last contestant, who I have a lot that I want to talk about. It's Gabby Barrett. She's doing "The Climb" by Miley Cyrus, which isn't a country song, but it's kind of in that gray area of songs that can be made country, and she definitely made it country. The thing that stood out, though, right off the bat is "Pimp Spot Again." That's like the second. Didn't she do it last week? Like,
I don't remember.
I feel like the producers they really are pushing this girl. They're pushing her hard. For her performance, I wrote got a little nasally at times, and I still just don't get her hype.
I'm not blown away by her. But I think that's probably because I'm not a fan of the type of songs that she sings. I'm not really a country music fan. I do think that if they're gonna push her, and if she wins, she would be a better winner for the show than Cade. So, what?
No, I'm not even gonna go there. I said, what about Maddie? But that's a fight that's going to death.
We're done talking about Maddie for today. I do think she'd be a better winner than Cade because she's more marketable, but not my thing.
Yeah, I feel like just while we're at it, she comes back. She is safe. She does Little Red Wagon by Miranda Lambert. I feel like they're pushing her too hard, and it's very quickly going to backfire if next week she is in the pimp spot again. I feel that the thing is, it's so weird because you have like a contestant like Michael J. and Dennis, and I still feel like it's going to be Gabby at the end, which is just a little bizarre to me, but I just wrote they need to push back on pushing her, but she's a competent singer. She's good. She's nothing really bad about her. I don't personally feel much for her. I feel her affectation of being a country artist comes across a little bit not genuine so much, but this is the path she's chosen for her, and she's probably going to be top 3.
Totally. Again, country is not my genre, but I think she's got presence and she's got talent, and I'm happy she made it.
Going into the results, I actually had the contestants most at risk were Caleb, Michelle, Garrett, Mara, Johnny, Marcio, and I was right. Yay. But those are all the performances of the night. But before we close out, I have some things I want to talk about. So next week is Disney themed week, where the contestants are they're doing Disney songs. I actually saw Katie Turner tweet out a picture that she was actually at Disney today. I think they were all filming. This is classic. It's ABC. It's Disney.
Synergy. Yay.
Are any songs you want to hear from the contestants? I love your suggestion of Reflection for Adam. Anyone else?
Hakuna
Matata?
No. I think that Cade, the only one I've really even remotely thought about is Cade should do one of the Phil Collins songs from Tarzan.
I Can Go the Distance. That's a good one. I don't know if he can do that. There's very little country music in the Disney.
Is that country? Cade, not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I thought you said. Yeah, actually, Go the Distance is a pretty good song for him. Maybe.
Any of the Phil Collins songs, You'll Be in My Heart, any of those would be good for Cade.
I would agree. I feel like this theme week is going to be a little bit harsh for contestants like Caleb. I feel Caleb and Cade were the two contestants I was going to say there's a lot narrower of a field for them. There's not very. I mean, I off the top of my head, I can't really think of that many like hard rock songs, which is great because that means Cade's going to have to do something entirely different. Caleb too. I don't know.
We'll see.
I want to ask you. So we have our top 10. Who's the most in trouble next week?
Well, let's just say Michelle is a goner. We can agree on that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Unless she does something incredible, unless she pulls out a Mad World, a Hail Mary, which at this point, go for it, I say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Michelle is a goner. And from there, I have no idea.
I'm going to say in trouble is... I want to say Caleb, but I don't want to underestimate the country bracket. So I'm going to say probably... I feel like all of the contestants who got the wild cards are the ones in trouble, in my opinion. I feel Adam's in trouble, Journey, Dennis, and Michelle are all in trouble. Can you see any one of the top 6 going home? I mean...
Michael, possibly. Michael, maybe.
I feel Michael outlasts Dennis. I just don't see it.
I don't know. We'll see.
So we had 28 songs. Which were your top 3 favorite performances of these 3 of the
Dennis
28?
From Monday, This Woman's Work was my number 1. And then Ada's Show Must Go On was number 3. And Mara's Love on the Brain was number 2.
All right, I've only have contestants who moved on.
Oh. Okay, so then move Ada up to number 2 and put Katie's
I was gonna say
Savannah number 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Maddie, Homeward Bound, Dennis doing This Woman's Work, and Katie's Havana, which is amazing. I'm back on the Katie train, and I'm so happy to be back. I really like.
I don't like not liking people.
Katie she's so relatable. Like I feel like everyone kind of knows that person in their life of someone who is a Katie.
And if you don't know that person, you are that person.
Oh God. I have one final question. Bold question. Who's gonna be our final 3?
Damn it! Why'd you do that? Okay, Gabby
who is gonna be? Who makes sense to be our final 3?
Okay, Gabby, Cade. Maybe Katie if she keeps it up.
Ooh, can Katie win? Maybe she could win, honestly.
3 is her barrier.
So you're predicting Cade and Gabby in the final 2?
Yes.
I can't. That'd be like a dark timeline for me. I'm gonna say, counter to you. I'm gonna swap out. I feel like Katie's top 5 because, like I said, the producers probably want her on the tour. So I'm gonna say Katie's probably gonna be 5 or 4. The top 3, like I said before, Gabby, Cade, Maddie. Gabby in 3rd, Maddie winning. So
keep telling yourself that.
And when it happens, it's going to be amazing. So any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Nope.
All right. So thank you everyone who has joined us throughout this episode. My name is Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Soapbox. I have my TV website, adamstvblog.com. I have my personal website, adamsoapbox.blog. That's my stuff. That's what I got. What do you got, Eric?
Eric_Ascher on Twitter, thoughts.ericascher.com. I'll be posting all my notes from this episode. Plus, I have a post idea that I'm going to write about this new rumor about Apple again. It's about iOS apps possibly running on the Mac, and if that interests you, which probably won't, but if it does, check it out. It'll be up sometime this week.
I also want to say that since it is Disney week, I will have my song suggestions article up on my blog. You can keep it's going to be on my TV blog. You can look out for that. Anyway, thank you guys, everyone who's joined us. We'll be back next Tuesday to talk about top 10 week, and hopefully our favorites have made it through, and my draft is still in the lead. Thank you guys all for joining us, and peace out.
But see you all later. Bye.
Peace. Bye.